So this workshop represents the new space era just coming online, which is really exciting. Sorry. And today all of us are shaping the future of new space and space. And our first product from Infinity Aerospace is the Ardulab, which you've seen out there, which I'll show in a minute. But that's going to accelerate your very own space programs. A small group of you are going to have a space program. You're talking about building payloads. We think the Ardulab is going to be the platform to accelerate that payload, to let you concentrate on building that payload and not worrying about the space hardware that needs to be certified. And that's because not many of you have sent things to space. Not many of us have sent things to space. And Ardulab, I think, is going to be that solution. In fact, there's capstone projects all over the world at universities building space hardware for space that doesn't actually go to space. And we think that's a huge problem. We know the reason for this, and that is because it's extremely expensive to go to space, and because the lead times are so long that a capstone project has no hope of waiting 3 years to go to the space station. Now, the new space era represents the solution to these problems. It represents a time when access to space is less expensive, has very low expense, and when the lead times are 4 times per day on an X-core links. Now, at Infinity Aerospace, we think about what happens when these problems go away, when we're really in the new space era. We think that there's going to be a vast need for hardware. When you're iterating quickly, when you're building payloads, you're going to need a platform to build your payloads on. And today I'm presenting the Ardulab, which we think many of you will build your payloads in. The Ardulab is a U form factor nanolab. It's backed by nanoracks. It's NASA certifiable, and it's Arduino based. It's open source, Arduino powered, and it has 2 basic modes that I'll cover later. One of them is experiment mode, which is the same as an Arduino operating normally, and the other is a data access mode, which we've incorporated into the Ardulab that allows you to interact with your data extremely interactively, including on the space station. So with our partnership with nanoracks, we've been able to leverage that relationship, and we've broken getting to space down into 3 basic steps. You buy an Ardulab, you create your experiment, you ship it back to nanoracks, they take care of everything for you, and you're going to space. It's that simple then. So the Ardulab embodies basically 3 core design philosophies. One is that it's aesthetic, 2, it's capable, and 3, it has a superior user experience. So let's talk about the capability of the Ardulab. Even though it's Arduino powered, it has many things baked in. It's got onboard storage baked in, it has analog driving capability baked in, and it has our mode switching capability, which allows automation on the space station, moving the astronaut from the loop. And this, what we're showing here is a prototype of a liquid mixing payload that's in actually high demand by a few customers in nanoracks. And this was built in about a week. This, with some refinements, this could be an automated liquid mixing experiment on the space station, powered by the Ardulab. And this is just an example of what the analog outs can do, the current driving. We're actually using a nichrome wire to break clamps and mix automatically on the space station. So we've tried to back the Ardulab to create the best user experience possible. We've created wikis, communities, we're doing these workshops. We want you to feel like you're supported by us, and that it's as easy as possible and as fun as possible to use the Ardulab to create your payloads. So the Ardulab is based on this ecosystem. And we believe that the U form factor of the Ardulab is extremely important. And the U form factor, the historical significance of the U form factor just represents how important it is to build off of standards. And the Ardulab is standardized across the space station, standardized into the X-Core links, and it will be standardized on Virgin. It's all the same hardware, it's all standardized. You can go from one to the other, you can stepping stone from suborbital up into the space station with the same hardware in a standardized fashion. So here we have a couple of prototype Ardulabs mocked up on a NanoRacks interface. And this is just how easy it is, once you're on station, to just plug right in and get your experiment up and running. And of course, we've seen the Cub payload carrier, which the Ardulab will be compatible with as well on links. So current status of the Ardulab. We flew 0G about a month ago. I'll show you a picture here in a minute. But we have the Ardulab out front there. And we're working with NanoRacks right now to get Ardulab into space, hopefully before the end of the year, on a Cygnus rocket. So here we have Jane Gensler from NASA JPL and some other associates flying a GoPro camera on the Ardulab 3U size, and they are our beta customer. So we at Infinity Aerospace really believe in this ecosystem, this hacker culture of your very own space program, and so, what we're doing today is really important to us. In partnership with SVSC and Citizens in Space, and we have a partnership with Sunglass, which is a company in San Francisco, which is basically allowing you to go online in a sort of online CAD program and see the Ardulab, work with the Ardulab, make the measurements right through an online interface. So it's really cool. So when we talk about going to other planets and creating this sustainability off Earth, Infinity Aerospace sees such a great need between now and then of technology development, research, education, this entire movement, which is sort of starting with New Space. We believe they'll need standards and we'll need platforms to develop the technology, to do the research, to enable us to get to that point. And we think the Ardulab is that solution. So we envision a future of standardized hardware and software. And with our interaction with the space station, we have real-time interactivity with your data because we have automatic switching, because NanoRacks has the capability to communicate with the Ardulab on the station. You're now able to iterate rapidly with the Ardulab between your data and uploading new programs and so on. So at Infinity Aerospace, we're building a hardware bridge to the future.